it's Paul from Alexandria Knife Sharpening and Laser Engraving. What I want to talk to you about quickly today, I had mentioned this a while back and a couple people said they were interested in hearing about this product. It's just been so busy, I haven't been able to get around to it. I think it was probably 2 or 3 months ago that I mentioned it. I use a lot of glues in the shop. So I would buy, different SA glues, which stands for cyanoacrylate glue, which is pretty much what many of us refer to as like crazy glue or super glue. Inevitably, it seemed like every time I go to the cabinet to grab it, it would be like dried up and just not usable anymore. And I felt like I was just wasting tons of money on all these different SA glues. And some were good, some were not so good. But I recently, a few months ago, came across Starbond, and I want to tell you about this because it has been awesome. It's been the best SA glue that I have ever used. The first thing I noticed about it, which I thought was pretty cool, is that they advertise that the batches of Starbond are always made up fresh. So they sell it, but you're not getting something that might have been sitting on a shelf, sometimes possibly for years. I would sometimes pick it up at my local hardware store, but I think that's the case sometimes is that it's just such old stock, if it's something that's not being turned over regularly, that you are not always getting really great glues. And I think that might even account for why sometimes some of these things just dry up and are completely useless. This stuff has just been really, really good. And one of the things I love about it, that it comes in different viscosities. So you can get thick, you can get medium, and you can get thin. And you can just see even by tilting the bottle, like this one is very, very watery. And this one's like a tiny bit thicker. And then this one, the thick is almost like a syrup kind of thickness. And I just love it. It hasn't dried up on me. It's a really nice, supply. You can see now I'm almost through about half of the thick. So this is the one I use the most. I don't use the medium and thin quite as much. I've probably used maybe a quarter of that one. And the thin is probably the one I've used the least of, but they've all been just super helpful. The other thing I love is they give you extra heads, and they give you these little tiny applicators for getting into difficult tiny spots. And this thing has been great for getting into like cracks in knife handles and things that I want to add some SA glue to. This thing gets in there really well, and they give you a bunch of these, which is also really cool. Now, the other thing I want to tell you about, this was a set. So I bought this as a set, and it came with this stuff, and I was like, accelerator, dries super glue instantly. And I was like, I probably don't need that. But I was like, all right, I got it. Man, was I wrong. I use this stuff constantly. This is like such a great addition to this set of glues. If you need something to like dry quickly, so sometimes you're working with SA glue and you put something together and it's just not drying. You take this and you just spray it. Now, there's a couple different ways you can use it. You can spray it on something that you're going to glue together if you want it to bond super fast, or you can like put your bond together and then kind of spray the glue on it and it bonds really fast. So I just used this yesterday to attach all these things to my sign. It did a great job. I used my thick stuff and I didn't have to do anything to it. But when I went to do the rope that I wanted to hang my sign from, I ended up using the accelerator. So I was putting this on there and it was kind of sticking, but then coming off. What I did was I put a nice glob of the thick on there. I put my paracord on there, and then I just went with the spray, and man, it just boom, bonded instantaneously. And this stuff has just been amazing to me. And I had never used an accelerator before with glues. I love it. I have found more uses for this than I ever thought I would. And I literally find myself using it almost every time that I use glue, which is really kind of cool. I just wanted to point that out to you. This stuff is called Starbond. This was, I believe it was what they call the 8-ounce set, which is, these aren't 8 ounces each, they're all 2. So it was like 2, 4, 6, 8. That's where they came up with the 8 ounces. So it's a 2-ounce bottle, thin, medium, thick, and the accelerator is actually 8 fluid ounces. So they're giving you 2 ounces, 2 ounces, 2 ounces, and 8 ounces of accelerator. I can just tell you guys, if you're not loving whatever SA glue that you're using, or if you're using other name brand ones and just had issues with them drying out and stuff like that, invest in some of this Starbond. It will just change the way that you look at SA glue, I think, going forward, and you won't want to use anything else. It has just been the best glue that I have ever used in the cyanoacrylate kind of super glue, crazy glue category out there. All right, so that's it for that. I'm going to go hang my new sign out front to see if I can help direct my clients to the right spot. I have too many clients going to my front door, and that's why I made my laser engraved sign here. All right, so there's my sign. Hopefully that helps. And if you're interested in Starbond glue, I will leave a link in the YouTube video description to where you can get Starbond.